Hey everybody, this is the Dealership Download episode 2. Today we have our special guest, Marlon, with us. And as you guys know, hi, I'm Taylor. We've got crazy car sales guy, Zach. And then we have Danny Nissan. Danny. Thank you guys for watching, and we are super excited to have Marlon with us tonight. Marlon, before we get started, I just want to give you the opportunity to be able to tell everybody who you are, kind of what you do. So we'll hand it off to you.
Thank you guys for having me tonight. But my name is Marlon. I go by Keys for Marlon in the social media world. I've been in this industry for about 10 years now. So just a plethora of experience and knowledge over the time. And here to answer any questions you guys have.
So we kind of want to kind of dig a little bit deep into who you are and kind of how did you get started in the industry?
I never thought I'd be in this industry, right? So I think I kind of had the same perception that a lot of people have about salespeople. And I thought this industry was just untrusted worthy bunch of people trying to make a lot of money off the backs of people, right? So that was my impression because that's what I was told from everybody. Like, oh, sleazy salesman this, and they take advantage of people that. So I think I had this, ideal in my head without even giving it a fair shot. But anyway, I went to college originally, chasing a scholarship offer, which didn't work out. And then when funding, from that scholarship got cut, I was kind of left at a crossroad of wondering what to do with my life. So I joined the military. I spent 10 years in the Army as a combat engineer. And then when I, got out of the or got out of the military, I didn't have any experience. I realized quickly that all of my military experience didn't cross over to the civilian world. There was not a big need for people to kick doors and blow things up. So, and even if I wanted to blow stuff up, my credentials from the military space didn't cross over to the civilian world. So it was a totally different certification. I wasn't looking to go into like law enforcement or things like that. So at that point, I kind of just found myself floating, trying to figure things out through different jobs. And one night, I just kind of had, I always had people tell me that I, was really good with people, and had a couple family members to kind of tell me that maybe I should look into sales. So at first, I kind of just was like, about the idea, but then I was like, what does it got to lose? I thought at least they get to wear like suits, ties, and look respectful when they have jobs. I never seen a car salesperson that usually didn't dress nice at least. So I kind of like that idea. I feel like kind of like what Dion used to say, you look good, you play good. It kind of gave you the sense of success, if you weren't. But anyway, so I filled out the application, got the job, started under the Chevrolet umbrella. Really loved it. I mean, I got pulled in under a nice group of people, man. That kind of took me under the wing and kind of made me, it built my head up, man. They kind of was like, man, you the prodigy, the next thing coming, this, that, and the third, and they poured into me. So I stayed with that place for about a year, and then me and my family had another opportunity, so we ended up moving up to Kentucky, and that's where, that's all she wrote. That's where I've been at now, under the dealership that I'm under now. And I can't complain, man. I've been able to provide an amazing life for my family, amazing opportunities, and meet a lot of amazing customers along the way.
First of all, I just wanted to say thank you for your service. Just a couple questions, based upon what you said. Now, I know you said you've been with the dealership for about 10 years. From what I gathered, you're kind of an A to Z salesperson, correct?
Correct. Now I've been and I just to clear it up, I've been in the industry for 10 years. I've been with this dealership working on 9 years now.
Long
Okay,
time.
you found your home. Now, how do you like being an A to Z salesperson?
I can't complain about it. I mean, I think there's a pros and cons to anything that you do. I think from an aspect of, not having to, I guess, rely on other people for the most part is nice, but there's a lot of things that go on behind with it that people don't understand. So I think just in the industry, as a whole, it's a process, like process of staying on track, if that makes sense.
And that was another question I had to kind of follow up with. Um, Having a military background, obviously there's a lot of discipline and processes, do you feel like that benefited you in the automotive industry of being able just to start full steam ahead, like having a process and discipline within yourself?
Yeah, man, I wish I could take the credit, man. Honestly, it's, my dealership is, I've always bragged about them being, fashion forward, man. And my GM, man, my GM is, around our age, and he likes to think outside of the box, man. And he kind of put us in a position to be able to do this. I think we started off like every other dealership when I first started there, and we had, an F&I box. And I think, them just seeing where the industry was going and making some changes, they kind of decided that they wanted to empower the salespeople and not necessarily rely on the F&I box to try to create a transparent customer experience. So, basically, the idea behind it was that the clients get to build a relationship with one person from start to finish, right? So, if you can build that relationship, then and create that experience for the client, then they'll continue to come you back, more and more. So, and it's worked for us.
How
Oh, for
long have
sure.
you been doing the A to Z with your dealership?
All right. So I think the we took this over probably right after COVID. I think COVID is when we shifted. I think before then there was separation. So we had the similar structure of where we had a regular sales floor, and then you had your internet sales. Um, and then we had, of course, the F&I box and things like that. And I think after COVID, when people were talking about doing, remote sales and things like that, and then we're customer service drives us as a whole, man. So, my GM just kind of dove in and was, trying to figure things out and figure out how to provide a whole experience for the clients, man. It's not too many places where you hear an ownership or, GM talk about putting the client first. I mean, and it's true. I mean, I'll tell people the things that we can do for our clients, and they're just blown away, man. So it's awesome.
So, quick question for you, Marlon. For a lot of people that don't know, what does A to Z imply?
Yeah, so it's basically just creating a seamless experience for the client. So when a client starts with you, they finish with you. They go through searching for the vehicle, they go through the car buying process all the way to the numbers and the delivery. You're their point person from start to finish.
So that means you're submitting the deal to the bank and you're doing all the paperwork as well.
Correct.
And are you detailing the car too? Just kidding.
We
Just kidding.
if need look, you laugh if need be,
If
when the
if need
dealership
be.
gets busy,
Sometimes you need to.
sometimes you got to, right? So it's all about the client, man. It's about creating that seamless experience for them and making sure that they enjoy their experience. It's not, not too many times where you get to spend the amount of money like this. So we have to change the face. I'm sometimes it's crazy to realize that, clients can be out shopping looking to spend, you know, 5,000, 15,000, 50,000, $100,000 on a product, right? And they go places and get mistreated. Like, in what world does that happen, right? So, like I said, we pride ourselves in that customer experience, and we want to make it to where we are, that go-to spot. We try to provide that lifelong experience where customers say like, "Hey, I had such an amazing experience with them. I want to, go back." And like I said, it's been working with us.
So, question for you, based kind of, you've been in the industry long enough that you got to see pre-COVID, during COVID, and post-COVID of
Yeah,
how the
for
industry
sure.
kind of has changed. We have a lot of green peas or people who are even considering getting into sales that get on our TikTok lives with us and they listen in. What is the one biggest piece of advice that you could give somebody who is looking to get into the business, who just started in the business, or even just going through a tough time in the industry right now with the changes that we are facing and the curve that we're going through?
Yeah, I think the best thing that you could tell somebody that's in the industry is like they say, Rome wasn't built overnight. I think sometimes people expect instant gratification from the things that they do, and you have to realize it's a process. But consistency is the key. I know people, you hear these old school car guys talk about dialing for dollars and, making 100 phone calls and things like that. I don't think any of that has changed in the aspect of making contact with clients. It's just how we do it has changed, right? We don't necessarily have to make 100 calls to meet a client, right? You got videos, you've got emails, you've got texts, you've got social media, right? So there's a lot of different avenues. You've got people building, websites. So there's a lot of different funnels that they didn't have access to back then now. But I think as a green pea star now, keep it simple. Don't try to do too much too fast. Focus on the basics, learn that first, and just maintain that consistency behind it. And eventually it'll turn to success for you.
What does your day look like as a dealership from when you start getting there at the dealership? What does your schedule look like during the day? Like when do you make your phone calls? When do you do your social media and stuff like that?
Yeah. So my day typically looks like organized chaos. Because no matter how organized it is, nothing typically goes to plan, right? You can never predict when a client's going to pop up or have an issue or things like that. So typically I would say if I come in, I start my day with going through leads, right, from the night before. So making sure that we, touch those clients as fast as possible to make sure that they're also receiving that seamless experience, because even though they're not in the store, they're just as important as the people that's in the store, right? So you want to make sure that you're getting those questions answered. And then from there, I kind of lean into making sure that I didn't have any follow-ups from like long-standing customers, birthdays that I've missed. So I make sure I follow up with all those clients, and then from there, typically you start seeing responses to the leads that were before, right? The people that were entering the market, the people that you had reached out to maybe the day before or that morning to with questions. So then you start responding to those questions, and that kind of sets the day up and continues, right? Every client, you're always seeking for those appointments. So that's what kind of builds your day, right? It's just a continuation of that process every day. And in between that, because of the way, again, my dealership structure, we provide, free oil changes, for instance, just one of the things that we offer for our clients. So I get a lot of clients that are just at the dealership, hanging out, waiting on their oil change to be finished. So they'll come over and they want to have conversation and catch up on me, see how the kids have been doing, tell me about their kids, tell me what's new in their life. So like I said, it's organized chaos, man. It's a lot to keep hold of, and it never goes to plan, never.
You almost had the perfect answer right at the beginning. Almost. You got to start your day
Almost.
off with two additional things:
Okay, what we got?
the right attitude, and you got to have your cup of coffee.
Had the right attitude and coffee.
Unless he drinks Red Bull.
Yeah.
Hey,
Back
honestly, I'm trying to get away from the energy drinks as a whole, man. I think I went through a spurt where I didn't. So, all right, crazy story. I went through 10 years in the military, didn't drink coffee, guys. I thought coffee was disgusting. Made it 10 years after coffee. I got into the auto industry, and maybe it was me, and maybe it was my age as well, but the caffeine was much needed, right? So when I first started drinking coffee, I used to call it creamer with a splash of coffee, because by the time I finished adding all the sugar and stuff, it was just a little bit of coffee for sure. But then as you work behind the desk, you got to maintain those healthy lifestyle habits and stuff like that. So that's when I started kind of making that shift to drinking black coffee, and I realized it was you kind of do it like the hard stuff that we won't name, but it's an acquired taste. You have to kind of just force yourself until you get used to drinking it. Now I can drink it with no problem, cold, hot, doesn't matter. But at some point, energy drinks were introduced into that mix, right? And I remember drinking that first energy drink, and it was kind of like, taking pre-workout, in the middle of the day. And I was like, oh, ooh, this is
You're
it.
off the walls, ready
Right.
to go.
Yeah, I was, my body was tingling. I was feeling, I'm like, this is the feeling I want right here. I feel like I can be productive. And it worked, right? And then I feel like, my body adjusted. So those energy levels were spiking. And then they were, that my body adjusted. And then it wasn't hitting those type of levels. So it's kind of like, when people talk about chasing that, that feeling. my body just I was chasing that feeling. So then it went from one energy drink to two energy drinks to it was like, three. And it's like, what is happening? And then you just constantly started feeling that sluggish feeling. And I was like, this can't be normal. Like, why do I feel so tired? Right. So then I think I ended up going on vacation and I just I didn't have access to the energy drink. So I was like, I don't know what happened. First day, I think I woke up and I was like, oh my God, I need an energy drink, right? And but I didn't have access to them. So then the second day was just like, we got to make it through it. The second day happened, and same feeling. But by the third day, it was like my body just reset, and I was like, man, I don't know why I feel like just so energetic now. And I was trying to figure it out, and I just went through the process of what was different, and I realized it was those energy drinks. So then I kind of had a test where I got back into my normal routine, and I sure enough, first energy drink, it was like I was good, and then my levels dropped off, and I just felt tired again. So I was like, this has to be the problem. So I cut the energy drinks out. I don't try to drink those unless I'm just in a dire need. Which sometimes with the kids, I definitely hit those limits. But if I can, I strictly try to stick to the black coffee for sure.
One thing that I know is we all met through social media. So my question is, how did you end up getting started? I know you've had a little hiccup, and you can go over that because we want to tell everybody the new thing to follow. But how did you get started in everything on social media?
Yeah, man. So honestly, I feel like people say that we're early, but I feel like we're late. I think it was just kind of one of those things where I was sitting around and I was watching people start to make money off social media, and I was like, well, why can't I do this, right? And then it was just like, the constant, you start saying like, oh, I could do that. And then you start having the doubt in your head, the excuses like, oh man, what if I say the wrong thing? Or what if I sound funny? Or what are people going to think about the way I look? And so then you go through that. And I promise you guys, I was on Facebook and I was out there debate or TikTok. I'm sorry if I can even say the different my platforms. I'm sorry. But I was on TT and then I swear, they say the algorithms are there for a reason, right? That was this video that plays, and it was like, if you're hearing this, it's because you have to hear it. Don't overthink it. Everything is content. Just do it, right? And I'm sitting there thinking, like, man, either that's divine intervention or I'm just insane. I don't know. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. So from there, I just kind of dove in feet first, man. And I was like, I'm gonna pour my all into this social media thing and just kind of spread awareness about me because it just made sense. Like if somebody came to me and said, like, I've got an opportunity for you to, spread brand awareness or your name out into the community, but it's not gonna cost you anything. But I am gonna ask for you to be present, right? And that's the way I looked at it. So I was like, okay, I've got full control on how much people see me, and it's up to me to, you know, make it happen. So I just dove in, man. I think that was it was probably about a year ago or whatnot, if I recall correctly, and then it grew into what it did, and then of course the moment happened.
Well, explain the moment, Marlon. Well, not the full story, but just explain, how you're rebranding yourself again.
Yeah, well, it's not too much to say about the moment. The moment it came and it went really fast. It was kind of like the rapture. I don't know. I don't even know if I could explain it. But I mean, essentially, the account was taken, banned, and I mean, I had to start over. So I'm in the process of doing that now. But I've learned a lot. So what I plan on doing now is just doing it the right way. I've set up all forms of platform now. I'm on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn. So I feel like if I'm gonna go a second time around, I'm gonna make it worth it. And I feel like that's where I dropped the ball the first time. I invested so much into one platform and not anywhere else. I look back and I'm like, man, if this had happened and I had all of my content on another platform, it wouldn't matter as much, right? I could go back and just, but I didn't have any. I wasn't prepared, right? Piss poor preparation. So equals piss poor performance. So it got up to going, and that's my fault. That's on me. So this time it's gonna be a lot better this time.
We're excited to see the rebuild of Marlon. While we're on the topic of that, do you want to give a shout out of what your socials are?
Oh yeah, for
So
sure. Yeah,
everybody listening in can give you a follow and make sure that they share it out to people they know. And let's
yeah.
get you back up to where you were.
Oh, absolutely, man. Look, they say roses were born out of the concrete, man. So look, I've got out of this mishap, new opportunity has kind of formed itself. So I recently just had a meeting with my dealership, and I've been kind of promoted into like a media manager position. So not only now am I
Congrats.
responsible for growing my own social media, I'm about to bring my team with me. So you guys are gonna see a lot of stuff growing, and we're gonna grow together. So it's awesome. But I tried to stick to my name. I felt like my name, I didn't need to change it. So I wanted to keep it as close as possible. So I still go by Keys from Marlon. So it's Key on TikTok. It's Keys dot from dot Marlon. I had to kind of, change it up a little bit, just so the platform would accept it. But on every other platform, it's Keys from Marlon. So YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, it's all Keys from Marlon. So
So everybody listening in, whatever you do right now, go on ahead and pause this real quick and go follow Marlon on his socials and send it out to everybody that you know. And let's get Marlon back to 10,000 and above.
yes, sir. Hey, engage with me and I'll engage with you. I appreciate that. I need
Engage
all
for
the love I
engage.
can get. That's right.
And
That's right.
he does. He does. He will engage back 110% of the time.
Now that we're, talking about everything else, who is Marlon? What's your drive to keep rolling?
Yeah, man, for sure. My family is my drive for sure, man. I think I missed the boat on finishing college. So, I chose this life and I poured my poison. So it's the constant hustle, baby. I'm constantly doing everything that I do for them to try to, make it a little bit easier for them, man. So that's me. I'm a husband. I'm a father. Um, and your neighborhood car guy, friendly neighborhood car guy, man.
So I got a question, Marlon. So how you started over in your social media with TikTok, right? If you had to change anything different, what would you change from the beginning? Let's say you started over as a car salesman. What would you have changed
What would I change on social media, or what would I change?
as a
Uh,
salesperson? Like I know, like like sometimes they just throw you with the wolves and stuff like that. Like, would you do like more training, or would you like get more knowledge of certain ideas of how to like sell cars? Like, what would you change, if
man,
anything?
I'm not gonna lie, man. I can't say I had that. Some of the experience that some of the people have had. Coming right in, I kind of got brought in under that umbrella of people being in my corner. But I went through a lot of the Grant Cardone training early on with my dealership, and I had a lot of veteran guys surrounding me who was willing to give me knowledge at any time. And at every place that I've been at, it's just been a plethora of people that's been willing to help me and grow and learn. But what I would change, man, is honestly just doing things sooner, man. I didn't realize there's a lot of opportunity to invest in yourself in this business. You don't have to necessarily wait for people. Um, you can send yourself to F&I school. You don't have to wait for a dealership to do that. I think a lot of people don't realize that you can also send yourself to GM school, right? People don't realize that because it's not something that's talked about in this industry. I think this is one of the few industries where you don't have to necessarily claw your way up to the ranks if you invest in yourself and get the experience, right? So, yeah, if I could go back and do it all over again, I think I would have started by maybe instead of investing in like more time in the college, but I don't want to take my college experience away. I had some good times in college. But I would probably done it like maybe had a better timeline, right? A better plan. It was just kind of, happened as it went. And I just learned stuff as I went. And I'd be like, oh man, you can do that. You can do that yourself. So just doing it sooner, man. Jumping into social media sooner, taking maybe some of the certification courses sooner, you know I think that's awesome. I look around and I see these kids, man, and like, 25-year-old GMs, and I'm like, man, that person's doing it, right? So those are the type of people you want to like look to. What are they doing to get to where they are? Because they're doing
For
it, right?
for
So
sure, for sure, for sure. Zach, you got any other questions?
No, I mean, I pretty much got everything out. I mean, do you have any questions for us?
yes, Zach, what product do you use for your hair? Because it's always so amazing.
All right,
Uh,
so I have to
it's,
be 100% honest. Besides if it's wet, it
it's a
just
hairpiece.
naturally goes like that. You
That's
put
awesome.
air through it, and I went into I have a Jeep Wrangler, I have the top off, I have the doors off. That's what happens.
Regular old
He's
Johnny
not like
Bravo.
us, having to put a ton of product in to get it to where it needs to be.
No, no. But I get asked that all the time. Like, what do you use? Do you use gel? Do you use? I'm like, I use air,
Nah,
hair
it's just
dryer in the
it's
morning, and I'm good.
look, man, it's just us ball guys, man. We just, we look to people like you. It's like, man,
We never have to worry about brushing it or none of that
yeah.
stuff. It's just easy maintenance. You know what I'm saying?
That's au contraire. That's what people think when it comes to being a ball head. It takes a lot of maintenance, man. I am
Really?
constantly shaving, constantly.
I'd probably wax it. You know what I'm saying? Wax
Yeah, I
on,
know,
wax off.
right?
Just
That
like
would hurt.
I don't know. Does it hurt, Marlon?
Double waxed.
So bad.
No, I appreciate you, Marlon. I do appreciate you coming on. I mean, we're barely getting this started, and I'm honored for you to be here. I truly do appreciate it. And then obviously Zach and Taylor, they're going on this crazy adventure with me, and I just came up with an idea. And they're like, "Yeah, let's do it." And I'm just like, "Oh my gosh, like we're
Man,
really doing this." So
keep doing, man. It's gonna be amazing, man. It's beautiful to watch what this community has blossomed into, man, and what people are doing. I love to see everybody kind of venturing off into doing their own things, man. And it's gonna be awesome, man. And we're gonna look back 2 or 3 years down the road and be like, man, can you believe we were just like, sitting in our basements and our garages and we were, having fun. So I love it. Keep doing it, man. Can't wait to see where this goes.
You
Oh, for
are
sure.
our first guest,
You are the first guest.
let's
so we
go.
I'm the
appreciate
first guest.
you greatly.
Let's go.
That's
Let's
awesome.
go.
That's awesome. Numero uno. That's
Yes,
Number
right.
one.
sir.
That's
Number
right,
one
baby.
now.
Before we end this, is there any questions that you have for anybody up here or any piece of advice you want to give to anybody who's listening?
Man, I just want to take time to thank you guys. I really appreciate you guys. Obviously this has been a rough time with me, with my social media journey and stuff. And I just want to say this community that we have, man, the out love of support and love has just been absolutely amazing, man. I can't ask for a better family. So I appreciate you guys. And, like I said, I can't wait to see what this grows into.
We love you, Marlon.
We love you, Marlon.
Sir.
We love you, Marlon.
Bros life forever. That was kind of bros life forever.
Well, everybody, I just wanted to say thank you for listening in. This is the Dealership Download. I'm Taylor. You've got.
I'm the crazy car sales guy.
Then you got Danny Nissan.
Thank you for tuning in for episode 2. Can't wait to show you guys our guests next week.